Hey, welcome to Howl's Off Grid. This is our new YouTube channel where we're going to keep you updated on our progress as we move along in our builds. We're excited to be here for this journey and hope you'll join us as we continue to grow and grow our homestead.
We got here on July 4th, 2020, and we've been here now for
a
month. Well, in 2 days it'll be a month. But we've been here for the whole month of July.
We were happy to get here after many years waiting for this to become reality, so it was exciting arriving here. The state of the property was really good, actually. Everything was still as we had left it back several years ago. Everything was like left untouched. Our neighbors, we were so gracious for them. They actually came out and mowed some of the area that we needed to access to get in and out of the camper. They even took it as far as to clean up our camper so it would be nice and ready for us. God bless them. We were so appreciative.
They helped out a lot.
They really helped us out so that we could just transition here comfortably, and that's what we've done. It's taken about a couple of weeks to really get our groove on our living situation with the camper, and we're still constantly changing things as we go, and we see better ways of doing things and more efficient ways of living in it.
The first 2 weeks was nothing but getting the camper
livable
and the living situation together.
Yeah, exactly.
That was it.
It was,
and now that's pretty much in place with minor changes. So yeah, we have this. It's about 6.5 acres with about 2 acres of pasture, open land, which of course we're taking up. Yeah, meadow. We're taking up a part of that, obviously, by building the house and where the cabin and all that sits. And then behind us here is about just under 5 acres of woods. The north end is the road.
Yeah.
South end behind us here is the woods. You got your creek on the east side of it over here that flows from north to south over there. We're going to get that more cleaned up and get that looking nice. Of course, Jackie and Eric, our neighbors that helped us tremendously and are still awesome. They're on the west side over here.
Yep. The cabin is pretty much how we left it. The state of it is we initially planned, as many of you know, we wanted to rehab the cabin and expand on it, and that was our plan. That's what I really wanted in the beginning. But then after we got here, really investigated it and what we were wanting to do with it, it would have taken a lot longer as far as time goes. And time is really not something that we have a lot of when you're talking about where we're located up here in the Northeast. With winter rapidly approaching, we really want to be moved in before winter sets in. So if we were in a warmer area, I would say we could take our time, but our camper is not really meant for cold weather.
With the cabin, the time it would have taken to make a small shed or good sized shed to put all of our stuff in, so the cabin would be empty in order to do the work on the cabin, that would have ended up spending more time than just building a whole new house.
The camper, for its age and for what we need it for, is holding up just fine. Casey said we should burn it.
But it's actually, I think it's a 2009 or something like that. I don't know. But either way, it's not, I mean, it's older, but it's not terrible. It's a small camper. It's not meant for full-time living.
It's really not, but it's working. I mean, it's working, and it's paid for, which is the best part about it. We really are just in there to sleep and to eat. We do eat sometimes outside, but we don't really spend our days inside there.
A shower situation, we got that set up on the back porch of the cabin. We have a pump that we bought from Tractor Supply. The pump we got actually pumps the water out of the creek, and then we have a 150-gallon tank that we have the water in that we use for just washing stuff up. We run water through our Berkey filter for drinking and food and cooking water and stuff like that, so it's filtered and all that is good.
Bathing in cold creek water at, what is the water is at, like 55 degrees?
It's probably in the upper 40s, lower 50s.
It
probably in the 40s.
It rejuvenates you. It gets that blood pumping.
The pump also gets hooked up for the water to the shower on the back porch. I actually took, it's a plastic little storage shed thing that I had from back in
a
Virginia.
It's like a
Rubbermaid storage shed. And we turned that into a shower, which is actually bigger than most showers that you would have in a house. And then we ended up buying off of Craigslist from another couple here that's doing very similar to what we're doing.
Couple, yeah.
It's a propane instant water heater. So we have to run the generator for the water to run.
Yeah.
And so we hooked up the propane to the pump or the water heater. And so we can take hot, warm showers if we want. Outhouse!
The outhouse is it's an outhouse.
It's an outhouse.
Because we really don't use the inside facilities of the camper for that.
It makes life easier not to have to worry about a black water tank in the camper. So we're using an outhouse, which was already here when we came.
It was already here, although we moved it and we dug a new hole last time.
We've updated it.
We came out. So.
Yeah, so it's got a
It's
fresh
a fresh
hole.
hole, yeah.
Not really fresh,
but
it's a new hole.
It was a new hole that we dug last time, which was still, it was completely just dirt.
I added a vent and I added 2 windows with screens.
I mean, it works.
So that you got some air circulation.
It serves the purpose, and it's not that far to walk to get to from where the camper is. We had learned about watching other homesteaders about the sawdust. We've tried the wood chips. I don't recommend that.
Wood chips. Sawdust.
Sawdust.
2 different things.
Exactly.
Don't use wood chips.
Yeah, don't waste your money buying wood chips. If you put that down, you sprinkle it, it takes the odors away. Good times with the firewood. So I had done a little bit of research, and it said that most people up in the Northeast use between, what was it? 8 and 10 cords per year. That was the average. The funny thing was I didn't even know how much a cord was.
So she ordered 9.
So I said, okay, I'll just order 9. That's a good in-between number. And when they brought it, I was like, wow, that's a lot of wood.
And he dumps it. And he's like, I got 2 more of these coming now.
Maybe I should have researched how much a cord of wood was. So I was like, wow, that's a lot. And he's like, I have 2 more loads. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's, wow.
What was it? 3 or 4 days of stacking?
So
just all day.
Yeah, so
her and Casey,
3 of us, but mainly me and Casey, just really attacked it, because I got to thinking, well, I don't think it's good for it to just be in piles for endless amounts of time. I thought that we should go ahead and stack away, and I didn't know about stacking. We had no idea how to do that either. So I asked the guy that delivered it, the delivery fella, how do you do this? And do you have any pointers? And so he gave us a little direction. He gave us pointers, but our stacking looks like it could tip at any moment. So we've improved.
It looks rough.
It's
the key is it's there. And considering the fact that we're just going to be burning it,
well, we don't want it to fall, but
so
and as we stacked, we got better at it.
If what all these other folks on this tube say is true about rocket mass heaters,
then we shouldn't.
Then that pile of wood is going to last us for 10 years.
We hope.
Okay.
We hope.
Because supposedly rocket mass heaters take about
they burn very little wood.
A tenth of the wood.
Exactly.
In some cases, or even if it was half of the wood, it would still last us several years. So yeah, if the rocket mass heater works out the way that we're hoping it will, and the way that other people have said that it works,
right,
then 9 cords of wood is going to last us until
we hope.
Yeah, forever.
Here's my advice to folks who don't know what a cord is. Make sure you do your research about how big a cord of wood is. I had no idea it was that much wood.
So the septic and all that stuff, unfortunately, so one thing that it was required was having a soil sample expert, a soil scientist, come out, evaluate the soil, and make sure that we put a proper septic and drainage system. They have in the state of Maine what they call primitive or just gray water drainage system, which is what we were hoping to be able to do, which is pretty much just a leach field, which is like half of a septic system. Unfortunately for us, our water is going to be pressurized, but basically the quantity and the amount of water we're using and things of that nature, it was required for us to do a full-blown septic. There's a septic tank is going to go between the leach field and the house, and the good thing is that there's an actual slope in that direction already. So we'll go along with that natural slope of the ground. And then on the opposite side of the house, out into the field, because it's got to be 100 feet from the leach field, it's actually going to end up being about 130, 140 feet away, is going to have a well. So we'll be able to hook all that up, have our water, have our drainage, and still we're not going to be relying on any water company or any sewage and stuff like that.
Right.
It'll be our own system right here.
Exactly.
And then our solar will power the pump for the well and our house and everything else. The woods. Actually, all this behind us was all full
very wooded,
of
full.
Branches, like little bushes and brush.
Mm-hmm.
So we cleared these. We cleared a bunch of trees. Not live trees. Actually, we just went and took out all the dead standing that was in there.
There's a lot of dead standing.
And then I cleaned.
And there's still a lot more.
I cleaned up about 8 feet high on all the trees that are still standing. I took off all the branches up.
Right.
So now we can actually walk through this section of woods right here.
You can actually go through. And there's like pathways through there. We want to clear a lot more dead. And it's just trees and stuff that have just fallen over.
And also, eventually in there, we want to put in a couple of trails, little paths.
Yeah,
there's a spot back there that we were told used to be a pond that's spring fed. So eventually, later down the road, we'd like to try to turn that back into a pond because it's all mucked in now. It's just like swampy. So once we decided we were building fresh from scratch, originally the idea was got to get below the frost line. And here that means going down at least 4 feet, preferably even 5 feet, to be well below the frost line with your foundation. So I started looking at it, and I rented a large auger, and I drilled a hole, and then I hit a bunch of stone and stuff, and I realized that's not going to work because I hit the stone at about 2 feet deep. And what I decided to do is just copy the same foundation that was on the cabin. That cabin was built in the late 80s or early 90s. The last owner bought it in 89 and built the cabin shortly after that. And it is still perfectly level, perfectly plumb, and has not a single shim underneath. So that's what we did. We used the concrete blocks. They're round, 18-inch by 6-inch, I think, or 8-inch deep. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But basically we just took off the topsoil, just a little bit of the topsoil, leveled out the hole, put those all in place, level, and then we used 6x6, little 6x6 blocks basically, to create a level platform. The southeast corner is the lowest ground, so it's got a larger gap there, and then the northwest corner is the highest ground, so that has a really short little, the block was literally 2 inches tall.
It looks
and on the other end, the block was like 9.5 or 10 inches tall. So,
but believe it or not, it's completely level.
We got it all leveled out. We got the first run of 2x10s for the floor, the main support, and then we did 2x8s for the floor joists, and we're going up from there. After we got the foundation in place, because we ordered the lumber, and it was, they said it would be probably 3 separate loads for the amount of lumber that we ordered. So we ended up waiting another,
what was it?
2 weeks.
Was it 2 weeks?
Yeah.
We had to wait
before we got the rest of the lumber. But once we got it, it ended up only being 2 loads of lumber instead of 3. And so when that second load of the rest of the lumber showed up, it showed up on a Monday.
Yes.
Actually last Monday. And we literally,
we started
this week from Monday until the end of the week, which is the end of July, in 1 week, we finished the foundation. We put down the flooring, the sheathing on the floors. We put up the 4 main walls all the way around and 1 primary wall that divides the sunroom from the rest of the house. So aside from the support beams that'll go in the center of the main portion of the house to support the second floor, we have the whole first floor all framed up and in place with 2x6 framing.
Yep. We had the whole first floor framed up in 6 days. Well, 5.5.
Actually, it was 5 days.
Yeah, because literally we got the wood, the rest of the lumber around noon on Monday.
Yeah, Monday we didn't really get much done.
And we got very little done on Monday afternoon
But
because it was a short day.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it was really just the 4 days. So we've got windows that need to be picked up, windows and doors. We've got insulation. We already got the house wrap. We have all the sheathing in the back of the truck, which we're going to have to download before we can go pick up the other stuff. I think by the end of this month, I think we'll have the whole framing done, the roof in place, and the wrap. It'll all be dried in and potentially insulated by the end of August.
We hope. And we really just wanted to concentrate on the build of the house first before we decided to move into chickens. And we decided this before we got here, was to fully put all of our efforts into getting our home built first and foremost, so that we will have a place to move into before winter kicks in, instead of trying to do animals and a garden and all that and try to focus on that. We really wanted to put all of our energies, all of our focus into getting this house done first and foremost.
Well, thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, hit like and subscribe, share it with the friends and family. That's who this is for. And we'll see you guys on the next update.